Thank you everyone for joining us today on this retail and service landscape presentation. We're really excited to be bringing this new resource for you. So we have here with us today John Archer from John Archer & Associates and Tony Hernandez from HRZ Research Insights, who are our researchers for the last couple of years on our retail and service data. And we've asked them to put together a quick presentation on the landscape of retail in the neighborhood right now in 2024, and looking at some comparatives and what sort of happened in the retail landscape over the last couple of years. So this is a companion presentation to our one-pager that we released at the same time, which we will be showing you in the presentation shortly. And yeah, they'll be going through some key data insights for our businesses. So thank you so much, John and Tony, for joining us today and for preparing this information for us. I wanted to start off the presentation with a question around what are some of the main changes that we've seen in the downtown Yonge neighborhood over the last couple of years relating to retail and service.
Okay, Susie, if you want to maybe put it through to the next slide, and we can we've got a few kind of key points that John and I have looked at. So John and we've been tracking business change within downtown Yonge for a number of years. And when we look over recent changes, I think one of the key things that is really standing out is that we're seeing this decline in vacancy rates, particularly when we track it back from 2021. And a lot of the vacancy that we are seeing is really related to the fairly large number of development projects that are underway within downtown Yonge, and also a fair amount of the vacancy would really regard it as really frictional vacancy. So it's tenants moving in and out. So there's that period of time that, as a consumer, you see it as vacant, and that's the way in which we identify vacancy. But essentially, we know that there's tenants coming along. So I think the decline in vacancy has been a really positive sign that we've seen across Dibia within miles and along the street front as well. And I think as well, one of the other sides to this is that we've seen a really healthy, I think, mix of new businesses coming in. So one thing that we did this time, working with colleagues at Dibia, was looking at some of the opening and closures. And we've seen some really great retailers open up in downtown Yonge. I think perhaps one of the most visible one, and I can still remember people lining up outside of this on opening day, was Shake Shack. We've had the IKEA flagship store as well, the Urban Concept store. John, I know there's a few others that are in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, like Italy and TNT and some great stuff like that happening. Simon's for sure stepping in, Value Village, Hard Rock, all those kind of, great and wonderful flagshipy, anchory type retailers for sure. Nice.
Yeah, so I think all in all, when you look at downtown Yonge, there's really a great mix of retail and service companies, and there's a number of those big retail and service companies that are looking at downtown Yonge as their flagship location, and I think that speaks volumes to how they view the vibrancy of the downtown Yonge area. Maybe we can go to the next slide, which actually shows, this is one of the infographics we John and I put together, and it's a kind of cut and slice of the data. We're trying to bring out some of the key trends in hopefully something that's fairly palatable. But it probably needs a bit of explanation. So we'll take a look at a couple of the quick kind of highlights to this. So if you're looking at the business mix, which is up in that, at least to me, the top left-hand corner, you'll see that, we've identified in 2024, there were 243 food service businesses. And we saw an increase of 9% in terms of the number of food services between 2021 and 2024. So those are the numbers in the table. When you look at the bar graph just to the left of it in the blue and orange, that shows you the square footage. So while there's lots of food service establishments, when you think about it in terms of square footage, we still have clothing and other retail. So retail is dominant in terms of the square footage in downtown Yonge, but when we look at it in terms of the number of establishments, that's where we see that the services really come to the forefront. So that's business mix. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got a comparison between the mall environments. So that's basically businesses within malls and then businesses that are along the street front. And what you can really see there is quite a distinctive shift between retail versus service. So a lot of the services you'll see located along the street fronts. We've got a lot of food services. I think they add a lot of character to downtown Yonge. And then on the retail side, obviously we've got a number of large malls in downtown Yonge. So you see a lot of the retail, particularly clothing retail and other retail being focused in those areas. Up to the top right, and this is actually where we start looking at new retailers coming in to downtown Yonge, which was it was kind of fascinating and a bit like while we've collected this each year, it was a real eye-opener to just basically how many new businesses open. So we actually had over 175 new businesses open since 2022, and that was 500,000 square feet of retail, which is great. And when you actually look at the mix of those businesses, they're predominantly in food services. So 51% of those businesses were in food services. And then the little kind of colored rectangles just show you a split between whether the businesses were chain businesses, so that's part of major retail chains or major service chains, or whether they were independent businesses. And we can actually see that 32% of all the new businesses since 2022 were actually independent food services. And I think that really talks to a lot, that provides a lot of character to the downtown. The final part of the infographic is looking down in that bottom right-hand corner, which is vacancies. And you can see that vacancy rate having gone down, basically having gone through COVID, with increases in vacancy, and we've seen the vacancy steadily go down. There's been a slight uptick in the vacancy, but as I said earlier, part of that is really new development projects and also projects in transition. And one of the great things about downtown Yonge is that a lot of the businesses are staying in business. So 8 out of 10 of every 10 businesses that were in operation back in 2021 remain in operation in 2024. So that's basically a read of the infographic. Hopefully it makes a little bit more sense for you, having given you a few little highlights there. Maybe the next slide, Susie. Yeah, so obviously we've got data here on where things are located. We look at food services throughout the downtown Yonge. If we go to the next slide. So street front, you saw that for the food services, clothing retail, large concentrations in the major malls. And if we look at other retail, you'll see that's a bit of a mixed story. So you find other retail in the major malls, but then you also find other retailers spread out along the street front as well. If we go to the next slide.
Yeah, so
Okay.
here's
go
where
ahead.
I wanted to ask John and Tony sort of what are some of the retail trends that we're seeing in going into 2025, and what does that mean for the downtown Yonge member businesses as we kind of go forward?
Yeah, John, I'll pass this one over to you because I know you've done a lot of work looking at main streets, BIAs, in a lot of different areas across North America. So yeah, the demise in retail.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people saying, street front retail and main streets are dead and they need a lot of work and stuff. But I mean, the work that's going on here in downtown Yonge and other main streets, I mean, it's been overly exaggerated, that demise. I mean, they're strong and healthy. We see that, the barometer, the quick barometer in terms of vacancy rates coming down across downtown Yonge and other main streets. So that's great to see. And like to see, that change happening, even though there's the mainstay of the businesses are reinvesting and they're there, but retail is about change, and we like to see new and fresh ideas also coming onto the street. So that's that they're the entrepreneurial hotbeds for new ideas, and as Tony pointed out, a lot of independent food services opening up in downtown Yonge as well. So love to see that. The growth of e-commerce has slowed. So yeah, during COVID, it just spiked and everyone's like, yeah, we're going to just kind of be taken over by e-commerce and it's just going to grow. But we saw that it just kind of capped and it's just sort of leveled out. So as retail sales keep growing, e-commerce does grow, but we do see a need for main streets. We do see the need for local and destination type main streets, and that's what you have going on here in downtown Yonge, which is great. And so, yeah, the growth of e-commerce definitely is there. And whether there's more opportunities for more integration with digital and physical stores, that's still vitally important. But keeping it in check that people do want to experience stores and looking at different ways that they can do that. And some ways in terms of virtual and digital technology can help there. As I said, locals is so important nowadays, and we see the growth of T&T, and we already have Loblaws and Farm Boy and other kind of grocery stores or things happening in around downtown Yonge. So that kind of more feeding into local shopping is still vitally important to kind of create activity, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, almost the way people shop nowadays. So local shopping is still vitally important to the health of main streets. Balancing that physical and virtual world, and creating those healthy main streets is where we see retail trends going.
Amazing. Thank you so much, John and Tony, for those insights. Really quick and short presentation. We hope you found this information helpful as you kind of go forward into the new year. If you're looking for more information and where you can find these resources, we actually have a research page on our website. It's downtownyonge.com/research. You can find all of our infographics, one-pagers, reports, and presentations all listed there, including this one right here. This one will be living there, as well as the infographic that Tony walked us through earlier. And if you have any other questions, please email us at bia@downtownyonge.com. We're always here to answer any questions or help you and support you in any way we can. So we hope you found this session helpful, and hope you have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.